And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am talking today with a good friend of mine, Eddy Sand. Well, Eddy, thanks for squeezing me into your day,
Oh, come
buddy.
on, man. Thank you for having this is a pleasure always talking with you, Michael.
Man,
You're
it's gonna
awesome.
it's gonna be a great conversation. Eddy is he's a sales trainer, and he's created his own selling system called the Sand Selling System, where he really focuses on transparency, and he has a three-step process. And what we're going to talk about today is what he titles three steps to double sales and increase conversions. And I know that sounds hype and everything, but when you listen to this, you're going to understand why he says it that way. So, Eddy, real quick, before we get into the three questions I'm going to ask you, give us a snapshot of who you are and how did you find your way to doing this. Give us a couple minutes on that.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I'm all about the relationship, building relationships. And one of my gifts that God has given me is really that talent of connections.
Mm.
So if you can see me as an extrovert,
Yeah.
that's what I am.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Did you, I actually heard one time that explains to me why I do what I do a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And it was my friend Joey. He's an introvert. And he said, Eddie, have you heard the story about the 5 coins? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, as an introvert, he's talking to about himself. He wakes up every morning with 5 coins. And through the day, every person that he meets, they take a coin away.
Mm.
On my end, as an extrovert, I wake up with 0 coins.
Yeah.
And my mission in life every day is to get as many coins as possible.
That's great.
And so that's where my passion comes. And then, of course, that fits right into sales and marketing. I
Yeah.
started selling when I was in Jersey, in the streets of Jersey, cologne
Yeah.
perfumes. And through the whole process of rejection, and all the sales tactics that I learned, that everybody said, hey, you got to do this and you got to do that, you got to close, always be closing, always be closing. I realized through the years that there's actually two paths to this, and this is why what I do is different, because I found myself doing who I am, being who I am, and doing what I love to do with sales in the path of money driven
Okay.
salespersons, money
Right.
driven. But the other path is purpose driven professionals.
Right.
So we've got the money driven professionals and the purpose driven professional. Both of them make amazing transformations in other people's lives. They both make money, they both are successful. But when you find yourself, like I did, in the wrong path, it's not aligned. And there's
Right.
always something. So I decided to stop, take inventory of what I have learned all these years, since 1999, since 2000, and look back and said, why do other people, when they gave me that freedom to be who I am, sales increase? And why, when I go somewhere to follow somebody's sales process, they decrease? Right?
Yeah.
It was something like that. And so I realized, let me go ahead and test it out. And sure I did. It was the approach of being transparent, being real, like knowing the expertise, what you actually do, and allowing two adults in a conversation to make their own decision.
That's great. Dude, that's that
And
that that
that's where I ended up, man.
and when you get there, it changes the game of selling to where people say, "I hate selling." Well, we hate it because it's that old school, always be closing, always be closing. Versus this is more of a relationship. All right. So let's dive in
Yeah.
because I know there's just a lot of gold here that we want to mine in a short period of time. So
Yeah,
one
for
of the
sure.
questions: why is it that we get so many objections at the end of a call?
Because we talk way too much. That's it. That's the secret. We can end this conversation right now. That's it. If people stop talking, if the professionals stop talking, we can end right here. But no, seriously,
Uh,
that's it. They are caught up of it. See it. This is how I see it. It's almost like you're going to talk to someone as a professional to sell your services or products,
yeah.
And you're there to convince them, however you can, that you're the one that they need. The problem with that is that they don't care about who you are and what you do until they see that you can actually help them.
Yeah, that's
Right?
great. Wow.
So you gotta stop talking. Allow the conversation to ask the questions. Be real. Be transparent. This is where it comes. Be transparent in what your expertise is. Don't try to be everything to everyone. So be focused, laser focused on what you can do, and listen to their problems. And then choose one, something that you can actually give them an advice and actually even solve it for them, so that when that conversation ends, there is no objection. Like they have the person on the other end of that conversation, they don't have any objections because you already solved one
Yeah.
of their core problems. So now their question is, how can we get started? Or what's our next step? Or wow, I never heard something like this before. What else can you do for me? Completely different than trying to convince.
Right. Boy. And that's, asking questions is really, really important in that process, the selling process.
Sure is.
And most of us aren't trained in how to do that. And so
Yeah.
that's really good. And I'm guilty, dude. We talk way too much, dude. Big time. I keep pulling it back and learning how to ask a good question. I mean, I think it was Dale Carnegie years ago in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Everybody loves a great conversationalist. And he's like, a great conversationalist asks a question and then shuts up and lets the other person talk, because you're going to find so much more, and to go, I can help you with that. And they're usually not looking for somebody to help them with 38 things.
Yeah.
Help me with one, build the trust. What else do you have?
Yeah. So one of the things here that people end up, also the professionals there that are selling, they end up talking a lot, is because they feel pressured to follow a script.
Yes.
So they never get the chance to be who they are because they feel stuck to a script.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying scripts are bad, because you need some sort of script to understand how to take the conversation into the goal to serve and support your audience, right? But don't be stuck in it. And
Right.
many of the scripts, Michael, go back to the old 60s and 70s sales pushy tactics.
Yeah, they do. And what I'm finding is, you ask a good question, it opens up the conversation, and people are really open to share when you are vulnerable, when you're transparent, and when they realize there's really not an agenda. I've started many of my sales conversations with saying, Eddie, thanks for the time that we have here. I really want to do one of three things. If we can help you solve something on this call, let's do it. If I can connect you with somebody that I know who can help you, let's do that. If I've got something that I think is right for you, I'll let you know and we can discuss that. Is that fair? Okay, let's have a conversation. What's going on?
Yep.
And
there you go.
Dude, they just open up, and I'm listening to realize, yeah, you're not at a place that I can help you yet, or I'm not the right person, but I know a guy.
Oh, man.
And that just, it changed everything.
It's the interaction of real conversations, meaningful conversations.
Yes.
Like you ask those questions. How I approach it is just real simple. It is, listen, I'm just here to hear or to listen what's in your radar.
Yes.
And if there's a way that I can support you, whether personally or through somebody else, that's all we're going to cover today.
That's right.
And it's like they put their guard down.
Yeah.
But in this thing about the objections, going back to this, I think having that conversation and knowing what to ask, which is really simple. It's just, first of all, you have to have a mindset and a heart to care, to support. You got to serve, right? So that's, if you don't have that, then you're in the wrong field.
Right.
But
right.
You got to do that. But the other thing about this is that this is what I've learned, that when you find yourself dragging that individual, that other person on the other line, dragging them to buy something from you,
Mm,
and they actually buy, you'll end up dragging them through your service or through
that's
your
right.
program. And that is the worst client you can never have.
Absolutely. All right. All right. So why do we get so many objections? Is we talk too much. That's gold right there. I knew we were going to get some gold. What about increasing our conversion rate? So I work with a lot of clients
Okay.
who get a lot of leads, or they're doing
Yeah.
webinars. They got lots of leads and they only close like 10 or 20% of those. So they say, Michael, I just need more leads. And I'm like, well, what if you closed more of the people you have and go from a 20% closing rate to a 30 or a 40?
Mhm.
Let's talk about that. What are some ways people can increase their conversion rate?
Okay, real easy on that one. So again, going back to the sales script, what the sales script shows you or tells you to do is that at the end of your presentation, right, not conversation, but presentation, you're actually going to find yourself in that uncomfortable moment to ask for money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's uncomfortable for the professional and the other and the client, the potential client. So what I recommend and what works the best is, why don't you remember that 1 minute manager? Remember that book, The 1 Minute
Mm-hmm.
Manager?
Yep. Yeah,
You know
yeah.
how they teach you that you've got to come in with something positive, bring in what you need to fix, and then end with something positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Your presentation, if you do have one, which hopefully you do, but if you're going to do a presentation, make sure that first it's a solution driven presentation, not talking about you, but how can you solve that one core problem.
Mm-hmm.
And through the presentation, sandwich in or drop that program or that product's value. I'll give you an
Mm,
example. So, okay, Michael. So basically, you've got so many services, amazing services, by the way,
thank
and
you.
you can get someone from not knowing what to write to having a bestseller on Amazon without even writing anything. That is amazing. So many of your clients go through now this is a number that I'm coming up because I actually don't even know how total it is, but many of your clients go through a $20,000 program so that they can get to that 6-7 figure mark.
Right.
And one of the core problems that you're solving is that people don't know how to start writing what's in here, and you
Right.
solve that for them, and you've solved it many times. Now notice what I just did. Anyone that's hearing this, listening or watching this, you heard $20,000
Mm-hmm.
in your subconscious mind. Now you're going to, if you think about it, just stop for a moment and think about it. 20,000, it's in your subconscious mind. All you're going to do is continue to listen to that professional helping you, but it's still down there.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the conversation, I don't have to tell you how much it is. I don't even have to tell you if you're interested or not. The one question I always get when you do it this way, so Michael, you told me it was a $20,000 program. Tell me about that. Or you mentioned something about the price of that, or you mentioned something about a program that your clients are going through. How does that work? Right? I mean,
Okay.
they want to know. They want to know. Instead of the opposite, right? The opposite. The other sales thing is this. So, tell me what was the best thing that you heard today, or tell me something that caught your attention so I can answer that for. Stop that. Stop.
Yeah.
Just flow with
Stop.
the conversation. So to answer your question, Michael, how do you increase your conversion rate? That's how. You don't think in your conversation that you've got to make it much better at the end and give an extra bonus. And if you buy now, and you only have 12 hours left,
I.
don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
What you do is you say, man, some of the same individuals, some of my clients are going exactly through what you're going through. And through my $20,000 program, we have solved it. And let me show you how that's going to work for you right now. So I'll give you ABC 1, 2, 3. So you're asking now questions, and all of a sudden you find yourself asking the question, so that program again, what was it?
Yeah. That's cool. I love it. So I'm gonna reframe that whole thing is so you're telling people to drop their price. Not to reduce your price, but to drop your price early in that conversation so that it frames it in the subconscious mind so that they're going, okay. And that way you don't have to worry about, here comes the price. What are they going to do? It's already out there. It's like, dude,
I
right?
know.
Drop your
Oh,
price.
I like Michael. Michael, you just said that very good. Drop your price, but not drop it in value. Drop the price in there. But Michael, again, this is not sales. This is not
No,
being a sales pitchy, pushy,
no,
tactic. No, it's the reality. If you're helping someone, why wouldn't you want to tell that person you're talking to what program and how much?
that's
Because
right.
that's going to come up in the conversation anyway.
It is. Now, all right, let me ask you a question that's off topic. It's not one of my three, it's number four now.
Oh,
Some of my clients have products where they sell a ticket item. Let's say it's $15,000, right?
yeah.
And or they could amortize that out and say, that's or it's $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month. Which is better psychologically? Does it matter?
Yes, it does. It
Okay.
matters. It
All right.
matters. Huge matters. When you present the total price, first of all, you are now not only are you solving something already, but you're supporting the value of your program already. Now, notice what has happened. There's three things that has happened in in a conversation like that. First, you told them that clients like them have results. Testimonial, right? You're using your clients for that. Number two, you told them the big price, the value completely that without you saying, you just told them you got clients. So therefore, in their mind, they're thinking, oh, they're paid that, obviously.
Right.
So there's no problem in the price being too much or too little. It's just right. And then finally, the third thing is you already gave them a piece of that program without a cost because it's a conversation that you're going to give them right there. So right there, that solved the issue. But what if, because it won't fit like this, but what if I said something like, well, so the clients that are going through some of the same things that you're asking me, and they're being very successful with it, is with our $20,000 program that actually is we have a pay plan for that, but also we have a paid in full option, and we'll talk about that at the end. But let me tell you, that just sounds pitchy right there, right? That just sounds pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that. Be real. Be honest. Say this is a $20,000 program. At the end, so I'm going to answer this right here, what you just said. Yes, you've got to make sure you stick with your big price. But here is why. I hate it. I just hate it. I'm going to say it. I just hate when I hear the person selling something, when I hear them say something like this. So it's a $20,000. Let me do the math. Okay, yeah. So it's a $20,000 program, but if you want to do the pay plan, we're gonna charge you $15,000 for 3 months.
Right. What?
Why are you penalizing the person? That is awful.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why you want to totally, completely tell them the total price, because now all you need to do is say very simple, this is a $20,000 program. We have some pay options, but we can talk about that if you're a good fit. Notice I didn't say if you're interested, if you're a good fit, because as professionals, we need to make sure, even though we're having a good conversation, that they qualify for what you can do. Because I know you, Michael, the same with me, but I know you don't want someone that comes into your world and says, oh yeah, here, I'll pay you, and they do nothing. Because that's going to mess up your record.
That's right. It is.
Right?
No,
right?
That's good. And I love that.
So that's what you do.
It's a good fit conversation. So that's how you increase your closing ratio, is dropping your price early in the conversation and sticking with it. And then the third question that I had for you, or maybe the fourth now, I don't know. When let's talk about increasing prices. When's a good time to increase your prices, and how do you do that? Because that scares the daylights out of business.
I know. It is. Why is that? I have no idea. Every conversation that I have, Michael, I'm always going to increase your price for them. Always. So, and I don't know why, but I think there's so many reasons, psychological mindset on that. But let me tell you how you do that so that you can feel confident enough to continually upsell or upgrading your prices. So what happens is that the hesitation to increase your prices comes from that old sales tactics. Remember, we're used to hearing, okay, so this is a $20,000 program, but today you're only going to get it for 50% off. Plus, we're going to give you bonus number 1, bonus number 2, bonus number 3. And so this is a $100,000 value that you only get for 50%, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason why that a part of it. We're hesitant to increase price because we know what we're doing. Right. But we just not want to say it, but we know what we're doing. So here is an easy way to do it. And as a matter of fact, it comes back to the presentation, right? How you drop that price in your presentation is that first decide what the value is. If you don't know the value of your process or your program or your service, then you need to go and research that. And don't be afraid to research the people or the professionals that are charging as high as. Go there, okay? Make sure you have a good price like that. The second thing is, if you're going to increase it, now that you know your ultimate price, well, get in some individuals to grandfather in, right?
Sure.
Like some people that can come in and help you develop your program, your service, or so on, and be honest about it.
Sure.
Hey, Michael, my program is a $20,000 program. So what we're going to do, though, is because you're one of the first few that are going to go through here, you're going to help me make it better, and I'm going to help you in return. So therefore, let's start at a 50% discount right now, but be sure and understand that after this group or after you and the rest of the people, it's going to go up to this price.
Right.
And do it. Don't be like, I'm not ready. No, just do it. Just do it. So how do you increase the price? First of all, be honest, be clear, right? If you're going to help support, let someone support you as well. But the other way is through your clients. This is the reason why I like to say when you have those conversations, bring those stories. If you have a specific story, tell them, hey, Michael actually was struggling through the same thing. And, some of the things that my $20,000 program did for him was first 2 and 3 and 4. And so I think that's something that you can do. So tell me a little bit more. Does that help? And you move on. Why do I do that? Because clients increase your value.
Yeah.
You have
That's
2
good.
or 3 clients that can say, wow, Michael took me to the #1 bestseller. Michael, because of you, now I got 6-figure income or 7-figure income now because of how you did this. Well, guess what? Those individuals are basically sharing with the world that price, no matter. What counts is Michael and his process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the way you want to position that, by the way, because just in case, I think most people are going to think about this. So how do you do the testimonials, right? How do you ask someone to say that? It's really simple, really simple. You basically say, let them guide them into say something like this. Before Michael, I was struggling. I was this. I couldn't. I didn't know. I was lost.
Mm-hmm.
After Michael, I'm clear. I've got a book. I've got this. I've got that. That's it.
That's it. It's got to be more complex. Come on.
Right? That's it. It's almost like, oh, but Eddy, I've had this before. It's like, Eddy, so you want me to get their testimonial? So should I give them some questions to answer? Should I? No. Be precise.
That's
If
great.
you're going to increase value for your program, tell them before and after. Before, I was making $10,000 a year. After Michael, I'm making $100,000 a year because of him.
Yeah.
So now,
it's the old weight loss. It's the old weight loss ads, right? The big fat 400-pound person, and now they're down to 187 pounds. Before
before and after.
Is.
That is it. That is it.
Okay.
Because Michael, it's so funny though. I love the topic of increasing price, because I will tell you, every single conversation, I know that they are lowering the value. And then when I tell them, I say, look, just ask for the full price. Some of them go, you, you want me to ask for what? I'm like, that's a $10,000 program. Can you at least ask for eight? But it's a 5,000 and I only take $100 deposit. And I'm like, oh my goodness, could you just do it? So it's fun, man.
That's awesome. That is awesome. There's what I love about this, Eddie, and you is you're genuine, right? You're just you, but you approach this whole world of selling relationally, and it's not some formula, some system you have to learn. It's no, here's what I do, but little tiny changes make massive differences. Right?
Huge. I had Adrian is one of my favorites. Adrian and Crystal, two of my favorite. But Adrian, for example, came in and she's like, hey, I'm getting all this sales objections. I'm not selling. My program is a $4,000 program. And I said, well, how much are you getting? She's only getting a couple $100 deposit, and she's getting all the sales objections. I said, okay. So what I did, real simple, like you just said, they already have it. It's just certain things to change. I said, hey, Adrian, give me your video. Let me watch what you're doing. And let me see what sales scripts or sales emails that you have to follow up. When I looked at it, again, old school sales tactics, right? And all I say is, look, don't say this, say this, flip this around, and go for it. And I did tell her, I said, and please ask for $4,000. She's actually one of the ones, she's like, you want me to? I'm like, Adrian, that's what you're charging. Why aren't you asking for it?
Yeah.
And sure enough, right? So after that, it was a one session. After me looking at the script, looking at the videos, I went ahead and coached her just a bit because she already had it. I just said, right? A couple of things, change and add. And then before you know it, she calls me that week. She's like, you're not going to believe this. I made $8,000. I'm like, let me guess. 2 sales? How did you know?
That's great.
But yeah, you're right. You're right, Michael. It doesn't take, it's not something difficult. It's more relational, but more important is understanding that if you already are selling, you're going to just get better just by the way you look at sales and the way you're looking at whatever script you're following or whatever you have learned. Just change little things. As a matter of fact, these things that we gave them today, Michael, if they just apply little things like this, watch.
Yeah. Well, here are the 3 steps I'm going to recap, or here are the 3 points I'm going to recap, probably in the show notes. Is number 1, stop talking so much. 2, drop your price early in the conversation. And 3, use your clients' testimonials to increase your value.
Absolutely. Wow. The clarity, man.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. And then with all of that, get testimonials before and after, just like the old Weight Watchers commercials, right?
Yeah. Make it simple, right? I love it what you said. That's it? Let's complicate it more.
Yeah, no, seriously. Man. Yeah. No. Simplify, right? Clarify, simplify, multiply. Those are my words. So,
I love it.
All right, Eddie's saying, how can people find you, reach out to you, get more? Because you make this sound so simple and we make it complex. So where do people get more information from you?
Yeah, just, they can reach me at eddysand.com, right? EDDIESAND.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Eddy Sand, same thing. And I'm also on Facebook, Eddy Sand Online. And yeah, just reach out. As a matter of fact, if you're going to reach out, make sure you put where you heard this conversation from. So that way I know that it was from us here with Michael.
Yeah. EddySand.com is the place. Hang out with him. Check him out on LinkedIn. Have a conversation with him. You're going to love him because he's got his sand selling system and process, which is really just all about transparency, just what we did today. And he can take what you're doing and tweak it so it's you come across more genuine. And because you do that and you're going to increase your sales. You're going to serve more people, and you're going to be more of the relationship-driven, value-driven, purpose-driven entrepreneur that you really want to be. So, Eddy, Brother, thank you for being here. It's been
Thank you
awesome.
so much, Michael, for having me. It's always a pleasure talking with you.